Hi, welcome to my channel. So I've done a few Irish name videos and I have people commenting asking me how to do certain names, how you pronounce them, what are the meanings in history. So this is going to be a viewer requested Irish name video. So these are names that you guys have asked me to do. This is going to be the girl version. There was a lot of requests. So I'm going to split it into and do girls and boys. So the boys one is coming, so stay tuned if you don't want to miss it. Also, I want to apologize. I've got a cold right now, so I know I sound a bit off, and please forgive me if I start coughing in the middle of this video. Anyway, let's get started. So the first name is Sorcha, and it means bright or shining. And there's a few different ways you can pronounce this, and it's really dependent on where in Ireland you are. We have 4 different provinces and they tend to pronounce names differently. So it can be, I'd pronounce it Sorcha. It can also be pronounced Sorcha or Sorcha, Sorcha, or Sorcha, Sorcha. You can also pronounce it Sorcha or Sorcha, but that would be more modern. The traditional Old Irish way is with a k sound. Sorcha was hugely popular back in the Middle Ages. It's a medieval name, and then it died out for a few centuries and went completely dormant. And then it had a revival again in the last few hundred years, so now it would be quite a popular name. The next name is Aisling, and it means a vision or a dream, and it's pronounced Aisling. Aisling. And another variant of Aisling is you take away the G and add in another N, and that would be Aishlin or Aishlin. And before the 20th century, Aisling wasn't used as a name. It was actually a genre of poetry, and the poetry was kind of vision poetry or dream poetry. So that's where the name comes from. That's why it means vision or dream. So it's quite a modern name. The next name is Eithne, and it either means kernel of a nut or seed or fiery. And it can again be pronounced a few different ways. There's Eithne, Eithne, or Eithne. And you do pronounce the H in it. So the H isn't silent. It's got a little bit of a lot of people would know the name from the singer Eimear. Sail away, sail away. That's actually the only song of hers I know. But her real name is Eithne. Eithne was a goddess in Old Irish mythology. She was locked in a tower because there was a prophecy that her son would kill her father. So her father locked her away in a tower so that she couldn't ever have children. And there's a lot more to this story. I won't get into it now, but I am actually going to do a few videos on Old Irish stories, so I might include that. So let me know if you do want to hear the rest of that story. The next name is Dierdre, and it means sorrowful or of the sorrows, and it's pronounced Dierdre. Dierdre. So where the meaning comes from is she was known as Dierdre of the Sorrows. And this is another old Irish legend. The story goes, when Dierdre was born, a druid made a prophecy that she would grow to be a beautiful woman and she would marry a king. And that king would bring ruin to the king of Ulster. So the king of Ulster, who was called King Cahor, heard this. And he decided that he was going to lock her away until she was of a marrying age. It's kind of similar to the story before, being locked away. But anyway, so he locked her away until she was of a marrying age, and then he would marry her, and thus preventing his downfall. But then years later, when she was let out of the tower, she fell in love with his nephew. And the two of them eloped to Scotland and got married. And then King Cahor killed his nephew, and then she killed herself, and then everyone heard of what King Cahor did and his terrible treatment of these poor people, and that brought him his own downfall. So the prophecy was fulfilled. So that is why she was known as Dierdre of the Sorrows, and that's where the meaning of the name comes from. The next name is Brónagh, and it means sorrow or sad. Sorry, I know I'm probably putting a downer with all these sad baby names, but anyway, Brónagh comes from the Irish word brón, which means sad or sorrow. So if you want to say, if you bump into someone and you want to say I'm sorry in Irish, you say tá brón orm. Tá brón orm. So that's where Brónagh comes from. It comes from sorrow. And Brónagh is pronounced Brónagh. Brónagh. And Brónagh is another really old name in Ireland. I think in the 6th century there was a Brónagh who was a mystic. And there was also a Saint Brónagh in County Down. And apparently in County Down, Brónagh is a very popular name, and it has been for the last 1,000 years. The next name is Eimear, and it means swift, and it's pronounced Eimear. Eimear. And I've spoken a few times in my other videos about Cuchulainn. Cuchulainn was Ireland's greatest warrior hero, and his wife was Eimear. And she was said to possess the 6 gifts of womanhood, which were beauty, a sweet voice, wise words, chastity, wisdom, and the most important, needlework. So they are the 6 gifts of womanhood apparently, and Eimear possesses all of those. The next name is Clodagh, and it doesn't really have a meaning because it's just named after a river. In 1879, the Marquis of Waterford gave his daughter, his newly born daughter, the name Clodagh because the river Clodagh flowed through his estate. So it was a personal thing to him. So this was the first ever Clodagh. And then she grew up and she named her daughter Clodagh as well. And she always said she hoped that the 2 of them would be the only Clodaghs in the world. And now Clodagh is a hugely popular name, and there's a lot of Clodaghs in Ireland. So, but that is where the name originates. The next name is Eibhlin, and it means shining, brilliant, or radiant, and it's pronounced Eibhlin. Eibhlin. Or you can put a fada over the second I and it becomes Eibhlin, Eibhlin, or Eileen. Eileen. When the Normans invaded and then intermarried in Ireland, they brought the French name Eibhlin. Now I don't know how you pronounce this exactly because it's French. Eibhlin or Eibhlin, I don't know, something like that. But anyway, they brought this name with them, and then that became more, they wanted to make it more Gaelic Irish, so they made it Eibhlin. And then in penal times in Ireland, penal times is basically talking in Irish or giving people Irish names. Like basically anything Irish was kind of forbidden. So Eibhlin, because that was an Irish name, that became Eileen. So there's been a few different forms with this name and a lot of history, but Eibhlin would still be used today. Eibhlin and Eileen would still be used today. They'd be quite popular. The next name is Nora, and it means honor. And this is another name that was brought with the Normans. They brought the name Honora. And again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. That name became Nora. And there are a few different variants of it. Maureen, Eleanor, Eleonora. Basically anything with Nor in it is from the Norman name. The next name is Cáit, and it means pure. So the way you pronounce Cáit is a bit difficult to explain. It's not Cá-ich, and it's not Cáit. It's kind of in between the two, so a very subtle I sound. So Cáit, and it's spelled with a fada over the A, and if there's no fada, it's pronounced like Kate. And Cáit is the shortened version of another Irish name, Catriona. Catriona would be the Irish version of Catherine, and Cáit would be the Irish version of Kate. The next name is Brigid, and it's derived from the Irish word brí, which means power, strength, vigor, and virtue. And it's pronounced Bridge, it. Brigid. Brigid was the goddess of poetry back in pagan Ireland, so a long time ago. But the best known Brigid is probably Saint Brigid from Christian times, I think around the 5th century. And she is actually the patron saint of Ireland, along with Saint Patrick. And they're actually buried together in a tomb in Ireland. And because of her sanctity, no one would use the name Brigid because it was only for Saint Brigid. Up until the 18th century, and then it started getting used, and then became hugely popular. These days it's kind of in a decline, but it's still well known. We all know Brigid. The next name is Éilis, and it means truth teller or pledged to God. So typically, depending on where fadas are in a name, it changes the way it's pronounced. So if there's no fada, it's Eilish. Eilish. If there's a fada over the first E, it's Éilis. Eilish. And if there's two fadas, if there's one over the E and one over the second I, it's Éilis. Éilis. So it really all depends on fadas, and it can be spelt a few different ways. The traditional way is Eilis, and this is another one that was hugely popular in the Middle Ages, and it's still popular today. The next name is Fionnuala, and it means white shoulder or fair shoulder, and it can be pronounced one of two ways, either Fionnuala, Fionnuala, or Fionnuala. Fionnuala. And again, that's just depending on where in Ireland you are. And the shortened version of Fionnuala is Nuala, which is another pretty popular name in Ireland, but Fionnuala would be a lot older. I think Nuala only came into being a name in the 13th century. So I know it's still quite old, but not as old as Fionnuala. And Fionnuala would be well known as this old Irish myth called the Children of Lear. Fionnuala was one of the daughters, and she was turned into a swan for 900 years. So yeah, very old traditional Irish name. The next name is Maureen, and it means bitter, and it's pronounced Maureen. Maureen. It is an old Irish name, but it's still an anglicised version of the traditional old Irish name Maureen. And Maureen would have had two fadas, one over the A and one over the I. And it's derived from the name Mary, so there are a lot of variants of this name. So obviously Maureen, Moira, Mora, Marie, Mary. So yeah, a lot of variants. The next name is Síle, and it means musical, and it's pronounced Síle. Síle, and it can be spelt with or without a fada, but both ways it's pronounced the same way, Síle. And a more modern anglicised way of spelling this name would be Sheila, but Síle, S-I-L-E, would be the more traditional old Irish spelling. And Síle is the Irish form of Cecilia. I think most people know the name Cecilia. The next name is Somhairlín, and it means told by God, and it's either pronounced Somhairlín, or Sorlín, and it is spelt with a fada over the second I. And the English version of this name is Samantha. And out of all the names that I was requested to do, this one was the only one that I'd never heard of before. But I don't know if that's just because it's not popular where I am in Ireland. I'm in Leinster, but maybe it's more popular in Ulster or Munster or Connacht. But where I am anyway, I've never met one. The next name is Muna, and it comes from the Irish word mua, which means noble or good. And it can be pronounced a few different ways. Mu-na, mo-na, mu-nit, Muadhnait. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to pronounce this name. And Muna is the name of an Irish virgin saint who founded a monastery in Sligo a long time ago, so it's a very old name. The next name is Alana, and it means beauty or serenity, but it can also mean, it comes from the Irish word lanav, which means child. And O lanav, like O child, became a term of endearment, and O lanav became Alana. So it can also mean O child. The male version is Alan, and I think we all know Alan as well, and Alan Partridge. So that's it. They are my top viewer requested Irish girl names. As I said, I'm going to do the Irish boy names soon, so make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss it. If you have any more requests, I could do another one of these videos. Just let me know what name you want to hear, or if you have any suggestions for other things you want to see, please let me know in the comments below. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more, please subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye!